it's Hope, and welcome to the video. This is going to be my May mid-month wrap-up. I just about forgot the month that we're in. I'm filming this on the 13th, so it's technically not mid-month, but it's the closest to the mid-month that I'm able to film. And in these 13 days of this wrap-up, I finished 5 books, one of which was for school, but I'm including it because why not? So the first book I finished was Divine Blood by Beck Micheals, and this I gave a rating of 4.5, and this book actually is an arc that doesn't come out until June 3rd, I think it is. I want to say June 3rd. But this is a book about a girl named Dinah, I think that's how you pronounce her name, who lives in this little village in, in a world. She lives in a little village, and for the past, I think it's 3 decades or something like that, every 10 years there is this shadow thing that comes and kills children. And in the last one, 9 years prior, it killed her brother, her mother, and her father, as well as many other people in the village. And since it's coming around that it's going to kill more people possibly in her family because she has a younger sister, she sets out on this mission to find this item that her father supposedly found might either kill it or be able to make it so that they can be like invisible to it so that it can't sense them. And on this kind of journey she meets Cassiel, a celestial, and he kind of helps her go to this place that it is because there might be something that might benefit him. And I did enjoy this book. It was a 4.5. It was really good. There was a bunch going on. It's a very history, not history, but the history of the world is very important, and if you miss out on something, you might be confused. But in saying that, the world itself is really good and really detailed, and the characters aren't that bad. There are different type of creatures, there is werewolves, which actually Dinah's cousin Zev is a werewolf, and there's obviously celestials. There's a bunch of other things. I can't really remember exactly what they are, but they're kind of they're mythical a bunch of different mythical creatures and all that. So it kind of blends a bunch of different mythical creature things, and it's just a really good book. So yeah, the next is The Darkest Minds by Alexandra Bracken. Now, this is a dystopian that is set in the future, obviously a dystopian, where 98% of the population of children between the ages of 10 and 18 mysteriously die of a disease, and the remaining 2% develop these abilities ranging from levitation type things to fire and kind of a bunch of different things in between. And we follow our main character Ruby, who is a orange, who is a kind of mind thing. She can control other people's minds, and this is a story of how she escapes a camp that all these children go to, and kind of just her kind of trying to figure out the world. She meets up with all these other characters, and yeah, so This book was a 5-star read. This is a reread, but I love it so much. I loved it so much more the second time. I love Ruby. I love Liam, Chubbs, and Zoo, who are the like supporting characters mainly. I love the plot. I love the idea. I'm currently like halfway through the second book in this series, and I am loving it too. This is a really good series. That's really all I have to say. It was a reread. I love it. Yeah. The next is Princess of Smoke by Elm Vince and Helena Rookwood, and this is the third book in the Desert Nights series, and this is a series about a girl named, like a princess named Zadie who ends up moving to this new country because she is betrothed to the Sultan, which is basically kind of like the equivalent of a king, and she is betrothed to him, and originally her sister was supposed to, but her sister, she helped her family and her helped her sister fake her death so she could go off with a guy that she met and fell in love with and all that. And this is kind of the story of Zadie figuring out how to get along with this new sultan, and mystery of a genie that she discovers. And so this is the third book in the series. This is about Zadie and her betrothed's kind of wedding that goes south, and her sister shows up. And I really do like this series. This is a series that I get art copies for, so I've read all these books as an ARC, but just because I get them as an ARC does not mean I truly do like them. I've given all these books in the series 4 stars. Yeah, I don't really have anything else to say. The next, I read the classic Romeo and Juliet by William Shakespeare, and this book I had to read for my English class. I don't really have much. I gave it like 3 stars. It's okay. I do not see why so many people like it and why it's required to be read in schools, but like I did kind of enjoy it, but at the same time I didn't enjoy it because it was for school, and it was just like, really, why is this necessary type thing. So yeah, that's all I have to say. I'm sorry if the camera angle changed something or if I moved, because I had to go talk to my mom and I ended up bumping the desk and this ended up moving. But the final book is House of Earth and Blood by Sarah J. Maas, and this I gave 5 stars. I loved it, and this is about a girl named Bryce who is half fae living in Crescent City, and Crescent City is a city that has a bunch of different types of creatures. They have creatures. They have like fae, vampire, werewolf. They have archangels. There is merpeople. There's witches. There are so many different type of things. There's humans, and this, I guess, is kind of like the story of her trying to solve her friend's murder with the help of an archangel named Hunt, who's like kind of assigned to do this, and all that. I'm really bad at explaining this because it just so much happened, but I went through so many emotions reading this book. I went from happy one minute to crying. For anyone who has read it, chapter 66, I think it is, broke my heart into 2. And so if you know, you know, but there are so many ups and downs. There's so many of like, oh, you think that this person might have been the murderer, and then, oh, no, it's this person. Oh, wait, what? This is what's going on? And it's just so like, a lot of it does start kind of slow and all that, so if you're not a person that is like character driven, like I'm a character driven person, I prefer it's character driven than plot driven. So this one I loved learning about Bryce and Hunt and Bryce's friend who dies, Danica, and like all about the world and all that. It's very like complex and interesting, and this is actually like my first adult book that I've read, which is kind of weird. Like, it didn't feel like an adult book. Yes, it was really long, like 816 pages is pretty big, but it didn't feel that long, and it didn't feel like an adult book. Like, there was a lot of swearing and a lot of action, but like, I think as a lot of people disappointed, there wasn't much like, there was like 2 kind of scenes, I guess, which like, I was hoping for more, as like, it's with Sarah J. Maas, and like adult, like, obviously I wasn't expecting a lot, but I was expecting like maybe more than those 2, which like the one was barely and then the other one was barely, so like I was expecting at least like a full-on like smut scene, which like, whatever. I hope there's some in the second book, which I can't wait for. I don't really like know how to explain like how I'm feeling, except like, holy fucking shit, it is really good. Like, a lot of people were disappointed about it because it like, it was long and it was character driven versus plot driven, and it was kind of like, some bits were boring and all that, but I loved it. And as a book that, I hate to say, I'm already excited to do a reread of it, but like, I have a bunch of other books I want to read first, like all that, and it's a book I'm really excited for the second book, which I don't even know when it comes out, probably 2021 if I'm guessing, but I could probably spend another like 4 hours talking about how I love this book. Like, it is just so like, in some bit it's so like cinematography, and it's so like it's so like well planned out and all that, and there's like so many different kind of things going on, and it's like, honestly, like, who actually killed Danica is like the last person I think I ever would have thought. When I found out, I literally like had to put the book down and leave the room. So like, yeah, those were the 5 books that I read in this first 13 days of the month. It was kind of slow because like, only 3 of those books are on my TBR of 11 books, I think it was, on my TBR. 10 or 11 books on my TBR, so like, I have a lot more to read, but I am halfway through one book, and then I'm a couple chapters into another one. So I hope you enjoyed this video, and bye!